This episode of the Relationship Status Podcast is brought to you by the Southern Elegance Candle Company, where modern values meet Southern charm. Right now, check out their fall and holiday collection with candle scents such as caramel latte, fireside, sweet potato and brown sugar, and our personal favorite, orange spice. The scent is cloves wrapped in a citrusy orange essence that takes you all the way back to grandma's house. This one is sure to be your favorite, just like it is ours. So visit secandleco.com and use our promo code CRUX, that's CRUX, for 15% off all regularly priced items. That's secandleco.com, where they lovingly craft each scent and city combination to elicit a fond memory to whisk you to a place of pure joy.
Welcome back to Relationship Status. It's your girl, Nick Cruz.
CL Butler.
And your boy, Yusuf in the building. And remember, you can catch us on all podcast platforms. Just search Relationship Status Podcast. Remember that you can join the conversation, RELSTAT podcast at gmail.com, or hit us on the hotline, 843-310-8637. Remember to like, comment, share, 5-star rate, and review. We're looking for some reviews, people.
Absolutely.
We've been short some reviews.
Yeah.
And if you don't rate us 5 stars, you're a hater.
Wow.
That's just kind of sort of how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. CL.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
Ladies
first.
Always.
Neek.
Yes.
How was your week, sweetheart?
Well,
Sweetheart. Wow. Wow.
that's who he is. You just have to understand people for who they are.
Oh my God.
You got to be consistent, though.
This is true.
It's true. I will give you that. I lack consistency sometimes.
Okay.
That's good that you were able to identify that.
Yeah, don't care, but I acknowledge it.
All right. Today was my first day in training for my new job.
Okay.
Hey, new job in the house. Yeah, we remember that from last time.
Yeah, new job.
So this was, it was interesting, challenging, but I'm eager to see how it goes.
Well, you're embarking on a lot of news.
Yeah.
New relationship.
Relationship.
That's going good too.
It's going good
too.
Yeah.
Ring season.
Hope you get a promotion. Yeah. Hope you get what you want.
We all
I don't know what I want, but we're going to see what happens. I'm enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying the journey.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to be his thing.
Sometimes women should be quiet on the journey.
Sometimes.
They say they're enjoying it, but they sure sit on a lot of directions. Just be quiet and participate. But no,
just ride in the car.
don't even know where we're going.
No.
Just ain't right. What?
How
Now,
you know?
if something don't seem right, the ride don't seem right, getting a little bumpy, or the scenery starting to change.
It's called growth.
No,
Yes,
okay.
embrace it.
As soon as the car stops, I'm getting out.
All right. Hey, C, man, how was your week, man?
Great.
It was great.
Yes, a good week.
Yeah.
I see people not using hand sanitizer as much as they once did.
Or
Going
mask.
back.
Or mask.
They're going back to normal.
Okay, back to normal. Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Back to the
You'll
vid.
see a lot of people with pink eye again.
What?
Pink eye? People still get pink eye?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I thought only little kids got pink eye.
Nope. I know a bunch of grown people get pink.
If
pink
you a
eye.
grown person with pink eye,
That means you don't wash your hands after you use the bathroom.
nah, that's some nasty work. Some nasty work. You got a grown person with pink eye. You doing something. You're not living correctly.
I always look at grown people that get pink eye that they don't wash their hands after using the bathroom.
That's how you get pink. Is that how you acquire pink eye?
That's one way you can get pink eye, because you rub your eyes.
I never had pink eye, so I don't know.
I haven't had pink eye since I was little.
Okay.
You're still little.
You're still little.
No, I mean age.
Okay.
I mean like 5 or 6. But yeah, like I guess you might get something on your hand.
They say once you get pink eye, you never can get rid of it.
Really?
I made it up.
I was about to Google that because I be all in the rabbit holes.
I just literally made that up. I don't know.
I get deep into the rabbit hole.
And what we have learned from this is do not take
don't.
medical advice.
Don't take it.
Medical advice.
You barely take relationship advice. Don't take medical advice. Don't take medical advice.
All right. And now we want to welcome to the show a very interesting person. That is Intimacy Coach Shiloh. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you for joining us.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, so you use the word interesting. What makes it so interesting, you said?
What makes it so interesting?
Yes.
Just the things that she does and with her profession. And
Oh,
okay. Well,
you know,
let me begin, because that was a very vague answer he gave.
very.
Who is Shiloh?
So, Shiloh, Shiloh Trianna, my full name. You can also call me the sensuality guru.
The sensuality guru.
Guru.
That's a mouthful.
yes.
Okay.
Sensuality guru. So I'm a trauma-informed intimacy coach. And I work with people to help them create more intimacy and compassion and love for those deeper parts of themselves that have experienced, trauma or have been repressed or hidden or feel ashamed of, so that they can feel safe, supported, and loved in being intimate with themselves. And that makes them better to be in relationships with other people.
Oh, so we're all on a self discovery journey here.
Yeah.
How did you discover this about yourself? That you had this ability?
I was a trial and error. Honestly, I went on like a self-exploration journey it stemmed from childhood and the things that I've experienced, as a child and growing up. But really, I think it came to fruition after like several failed dating experiences with, I had 2 years ago, I had a really long relationship for about 4 years that, ended. And after that, I went on this series of dates, but I was like, why does this not work? Why is this not working? Because I feel like what I'm doing is good. So I started writing down everything that I would do, like as far as what I was feeling while I was dating these individuals. And so it came to a point where I was like, I think I'm going to start dating myself. And because it would end and I would always feel left feeling less than, unworthy, or just kind of disheartened by the experience in totality. And I'm just like, I don't want to feel like that anymore. I am at a point in my life where I bought a new house in 2020 and spent because of COVID, I literally was in isolation by myself. So I said, I'm going to go date myself. We're going to treat you. What do you want tonight? It's Friday night. It's COVID. I don't know. Let's go order some wine. Let's get some food. You want to look good? Let's go put some lingerie on. And I would have date nights with myself. And so I just took that to an extreme and continued that on a consistent basis and started journaling and just really being mindful and being with myself so that I could start to see patterns in the things that I was doing, who I was dating, and what I was feeling. And so I really was very intentional with it. And that's kind of what shaped my ability to start coaching and helping other women do the same thing.
Okay. That's interesting. In dating yourself, what did you learn about yourself in dating?
Oh, so much. And still, I think it's an ever evolving process. We're always learning. Like we should always be learning, is one of my beliefs. But one of the things that I learned is that I am just truly I'm very sensitive to energy. So I say I identify as an empath, but I really do feel like I feel people's energy, and I need a lot more sleep than maybe other people may need. I need to rest and recover. And I used to be a very go, go, go type of person. And that sometimes sitting down and just being quiet, either whether that's, in meditation or, being aware of listening to some rain sounds or something like that, just really centers me and really grounds me. And it makes my energy not so anxious. Like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do that. And it serves a purpose, but we don't always have to be like that when we're trying to watch a movie. Why is your mind going on 20 other things if you're trying to be present in the moment to just be with whomever you're with, whether that's a family member, a loved one, or just yourself to enjoy that moment. So that was one of the big things. I'm very sensual. So all things senses, what I see, you guys can kind of see my background. I have a lot of LED lights in my house, a lot of colors, a lot of scents are a big thing for me. Lighting. My house is a vibe. I created my house to be a whole vibe because it helped me. It made me feel safe. It made me feel comforted. And I can go from upstairs in my meditation space during the daytime and kind of transition to the evening where I come down to lounge shy and I'm sitting here, smoking my hookah and watching a movie. And it's a very embodied experience to have that and have created this space for myself. So I definitely have become the sensuality guru because I found out how ridiculously sensual I am and being able to take all that in.
Okay, Shiloh. You mentioned two things, and two things I often question. They're said a lot. You mentioned vibe and energy.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what either is. Could you explain to me the difference between the two, or is there no difference, or is it just based upon the moment?
So vibe is short for vibration, right?
Okay.
And
I don't do that, but okay.
What?
Hi.
I don't vibrate at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like your energy, energy is a frequency, right? And the frequency, if you see it, it's like a squiggly line. So they say that that's your vibe.
Okay.
And so in the same answer in that it is like the same thing, right? So you have your energy, you want to be if you're happy and you're doing things in your life that are making you happy, your work is going good, relationships are going good and stuff like that, your energy tends to be, at a higher vibration. Okay. If you are, sad, going through a rough patch and everything like that, your energy shifts and to a lower, more negative frequency. And so when we're on that negative frequency, it's kind of difficult to reach for those higher vibrations. And so it's a stepping stone and to getting back to where you feel good. We want to be up here at this high vibration. We do know that we experience low vibes at times, given things that happen, circumstances, and everyday life. But we want for the most part, to stay at a high frequency because that's where it feels good. It feels best to get there. And so learning how to build those, what are the tools that are going to get me back to that high vibe frequency is what I teach through intimacy.
Okay.
And you have to be it's very personal to the individual. What I take may not be the same thing that you take to get back to feeling good. And so it's a very individual experience. And, working with my clients to kind of go on their own experimental journey with intimacy, they get to learn themselves on a deeper level and make that safety, that love, and that support that they're showing themselves so that we can have those deeper conversations about some of the traumas, some of the triggers, and some of those things that come up. But if you don't feel safety, support, and love within your own self, how do you be vulnerable? How can you start to open up and share the things with even yourself or another person who would want to be intimately connected with you?
Well, thank you. I will be on the search for my vibrations and energy now. Now that I have an answer. Okay. Yusuf.
Well, you posted
vibrating.
You posted
well,
something.
Where are you? Can I ask a question? Where are you guys right now? We could do a little bit of a embodied practice.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
Right,
Yeah, let's ride. With
we're
that.
in the studio. So what do you need? The location or
nothing. So what we'll do is it's called a butterfly hug. So
you do that to ourselves?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I ain't signed up for
Come
this.
on.
Okay, so we're doing the butterfly hug. Okay.
You're in itself.
Okay.
And you press it right onto your chest, right?
Okay.
Okay.
And so then you kind of alternate times pressing down into your chest.
Okay.
And so it's basically for you to feel supported and comforted with yourself.
Okay, so when would I do this?
In time. So right now, let's see. What are you feeling at this moment?
I'm feeling Yusuf should make eye contact with me. Because I don't like that. I'm uncomfortable.
You're discomfort.
Discomfort. Like he's looking and I don't like it.
Where does that feel? Where are you feeling the discomfort?
I'm feeling discomfort. Maybe I was raised very toxic. Masculine. No, toxic masculinity. I think that's what it is. I don't like it.
Get in tune with your more feminine side.
But don't look at it. I don't like him looking at me.
But I'm looking at the camera. What are you talking about?
He can tell you looking at him through the camera.
Yeah, so it feels, maybe I don't feel as secure in my masculinity like doing this. This is
okay.
Good.
And that's okay. So let's take a deep breath.
Okay.
One big deep breath. Ready? In through your nose. Easy. And release slowly. Let's do another one. Big deep breath. And release slow.
Why you belong through your mouth? You supposed to go through your nose.
No, you supposed to go through your mouth.
You supposed to go through your nose. Your
Can
mouth.
we be serious?
We are being
I'm
serious.
asking.
There's a lot to be said in the moment where
I'm trying to get my healing.
for right, the distractions, some of the, laughter and joking and kind of, coming out of the moment is a way to see where their discomfort is. So that discomfort in just simply breathing and listening to others breathe and being silent in that moment can be seen through a little bit of discomfort by not being able to sit still with yourself.
Oh, you can't sit still with yourself.
Should I still have my hands like this?
No, we could take our hands off. Simply a form. So as I said, doing this for sometimes if it's the first practice of sitting with yourself, that's just a way to like create comfort, to say it's like a hug for yourself. Like, hey, I'm here with you in this moment. It's okay to feel a little bit of discomfort. But generally, breathing exercises, you can do it laying on the floor. You can do it just sitting down. You can do it with anything like that. But it's really just, how are you when you're with yourself? Where are you feeling that? If you feel discomfort, where? Is it in your throat? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you feel it on your back? Do you feel it? Do you carry it on your shoulders? Where in the body are you feeling this come up for you? And then you could think about it, if that discomfort, has it always been there? Is it just there when certain things happen? When people say something specifically to you, when you're having to do a specific activity, when does it come up for you? And when you start to think about it in that way, you can start to connect the dots back to experiences that you've had in the past that now make you show up in this way in the present moment.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So how often should one do this? Just like an everyday thing, or?
For sure, every day.
Every day.
The more consistent you are with tuning into your body, the more you're going to know when you need to properly resource yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get to know myself.
So
you get scared that you won't like yourself?
Oh, I like myself, but I just don't know. Makes me feel real like butterfly.
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Off.
Yeah. It's something. Feels like Bath and Body Works or something. I don't like that.
It's the Bath and Body Works vibe.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Wow.
It's funny because men aren't really taught a lot of times how to express their emotions or how to even tune into their body to understand how they feel. So a lot of times we as women, we like to really quickly say, like, men don't know, they don't ever talk to us, they don't ever communicate, but we don't have the discussions enough with men to say, do they know how to communicate? Are they even aware of what they're feeling?
Yes. Please.
Can they even identify what it is that they're actually feeling in that moment? But same with women. When men are like, what do women want? We don't even know. Y'all just be wanting everything. It's because women aren't able to tune into themselves to get the specific details about what it is that they need. Okay. I'm telling you that, you didn't show up for me when you did this, that, and third. It's like, well, what do you really want to feel? Do you want to feel supported? And how can he specifically make you feel supported? What kind of actions do you need to see from him that will help you feel that way? And those are the kind of exploratory questions that we start to go through and work through to help, you first get a better idea for you. And then we can work to communicate that to somebody else. But if you don't know specifically what it is that you want first, how to make yourself feel that way, how would you be able to share that with another person?
So what I'm understanding from you is that the intimacy starts with you first.
Absolutely.
With the intimacy with yourself. Wow. Okay. Y'all have some work to do.
What y'all?
Well, let's take a step back here. Okay. So we've been using the word intimacy. Shiloh, what do you define intimacy as?
So intimacy is the closeness with oneself.
Oh.
Closeness. So a lot of times people think intimacy is, sex, and we're talking about in the bedroom and all that stuff. For me, it's not that. You can have sex and sexuality and all that stuff can be intimate, right? It can be an intimate experience, but sex, as we know, can also not be intimate at all. It can be completely, one night stand. I didn't care, whatever. Or we know some traumatic experiences that happen that are not intimate, that are sexual, right? So intimacy is the closeness, the vulnerability with another being or with yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So so are there any other misconceptions about intimacy other than intimacy equals sexuality?
Honestly, I think so. So sensuality is another one. So sensuality would be the ability to experience pleasure, right? So the ability to use your senses, your sight, hearing, taste, touch, all of the, your five senses to experience something in totality. And how are you, that's giving you pleasure.
Okay.
Right. So it could be like, this experience that we're having right now, being on this podcast is sensually pleasurable to me. I enjoy having the conversations with you guys. I'm in a nice environment. I enjoy, recording in my studio. I'm enjoying the opportunity. All of this is a very sensual experience, and being able to pull out the things that I like about this experience is what makes it sensual. So you can do that wherever you are, whenever you like, whatever you're doing. So we could be taking a walk in the park. What makes this experience pleasurable for you? The ability to do that is being sensual.
Okay. Do you focus mostly on romantic intimacy or also on family and friendship?
All the above. I think that it's funny. I truly do believe that our romantic relationships are specifically guided by our family and intimate connections. So yes, at a romantic level, they do affect your overall, ability to create intimacy. But I think a lot of the times trauma and things that have happened to you in your past relationships with your family and with your friends and with your close, anyone who's been close to you, I think those are really the root of where a lot of the severing of intimacy comes from in our romantic relationships. We haven't dealt with that inner child who feels like, lost and doesn't feel heard and doesn't feel acknowledged enough. And that shows up whenever you're dating somebody. And so a lot of the times then, we don't feel safe enough within those romantic relationships because you just don't understand each other enough. And you need somebody to go and do that deep dive work with you to say, hey, this is how you're going to do it. This is how you'll feel supported. I'm here with you. We'll walk through this together. And that helps them to come back into our next relationship or the same relationship to say, I've worked on some of the things that I know that are stopping us from further and deepening our intimacy and our connection with one another. So it's really all three: family, friends, and romantic relationships.
Okay. You spoke on trauma. How would, I guess, maybe a normal person, I don't want to say normal, but just a casual person or normal people, are there any signs to recognize that a person may be suffering from trauma that could have an effect on their intimacy?
Trauma will definitely affect intimacy. If there is a disconnect within the relationship that is not allowing it to deepen, and there's no communication as to what is happening with that individual that's not allowing it to deepen, whether they, they're like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what is happening. We always are consistently fighting about the same thing. There's just something there. There's something there. And it's up to that other person to communicate with you what that is. You can only say, hey, this keeps coming up for me and I cannot deepen my intimacy with you because I'm unable to create a connection with you in this level. And I need your help to do that. It's a two-way street.
Okay. I have a question about vulnerability. I identify as was it he and him? Was that what I would be?
Yes.
Something? Okay. What happens when women ask for vulnerability and then they tend to use the vulnerability against the men? The man they're asking to be vulnerable, and then that causes them not to be vulnerable anymore because women want men to be open, but it's only to a certain degree. Because if you go too far, like I say, if you cry all the time, now it's problematic. You're almost viewed as soft. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
If he cries, like, just like you get 2 times a year unless something traumatic happens.
Oh my God.
But if you crying like every other week,
What you crying for?
But she has to create that safe space for you to
it's
be
not
able to
safe.
come.
She's gonna be tired of it.
No, she's going to get
But
tired.
I mean, if you crying every day, you might need to go see somebody.
A woman can cry every day, and we just kind of have
we
to.
just take it. Yeah.
But
deal
we're not
with
going
it.
to come to you every day and cry.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
What woman y'all know has came to y'all every day crying?
well,
Not
not
something
every-
that you're not doing.
When have you dated a woman?
Exactly.
3 times.
I'm
Do we not talk about this?
just saying, like, I just think that, like, our experiences with women, it's more acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Not even just romantic, even friendships.
Yeah,
A
just
man
even in
can't just be
friendship.
crying all
Yeah,
the
like,
time.
listen, if CL called me crying, I'm going to hang up the phone.
Are you
Instantly.
serious?
If it isn't something traumatic happened,
Yeah.
You won't know unless you ask.
I'm just having a bad day crying.
no, because I know my friends.
End.
Okay.
End of what?
I don't know.
Hey,
we
we
can
have-
go through
we
things.
Just call me yourself.
We have a guest.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're sorry about that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the discussion.
Kind of got derailed.
I know I'm enjoying the discussion. So
Okay.
I think that in order, first, you could take it in 2 parts.
Okay.
There's crying is simply a way for your body to release stress.
Okay.
Any negative experience gets trapped in the body, gets captured by the body because our eyes take it in, our ears take it in. We either smell something, right? Well, that's why sometimes when you smell a scent, you're reminded of like it triggers a memory of some sort. You hear a song and it triggers that time when that girl broke your heart or that guy broke your heart, So we take it into the body and we hold it in the body. And unless we can attach our mind and tell our mind, hey, mind, it's time to tune into the body with what you're feeling. And then the mind says, oh, yeah, I remember that happened with this event where I felt, like I wasn't seen or I wasn't heard. Right. And unless you can address that feeling of not feeling seen or heard now, that emotion is going to stay within the body. So crying is simply a bubbling up of those emotions over time, of all those things that we have trapped in our body that is now coming out from one experience. So let's say you go through several times of not feeling heard, seen, acknowledged, right? You have that stored in your body. Now you're about to break up with somebody and they told you, whatever, and you feel the same way, not seen, heard, or whatever. All of those multiple experiences of you not feeling seen or heard are sitting with you. And it bubbles up as an emotion that could potentially come out in many different ways, whether that's crying, that could be bursts of anger, that could be isolating yourself, that could be, it could show up in several different ways. So crying is just one way of expressing that emotion. Anger can also come out as tears. We've seen that several times. You get so angry, you just cry. I've definitely done that. I'm definitely an angry crier. Like if I am too. If I get angry enough, I don't care what it is. It's coming out as tears. Like I'd be so mad that it's just coming out as tears, So I've definitely done that. So angry can come out as tears too. It's just a bubbling up of emotion and you just understanding yourself of how it comes up. So if you start to study yourself when you do feel angry, and start to think about why am I feeling angry in this moment? What happened?
Now, okay, I'm looking at things differently now because I've seen you cry. So I'm gonna go back and look at it. Okay.
Have you cried?
This year, I've cried once, but it's probably in the last 30 years, I've probably cried 3 times.
Okay.
So maybe I'm always feeling seen and heard, and I don't have a lot of anger, so I don't have to cry a lot.
Or maybe you express it in a different way.
Yes, there you go. Or maybe
I cried because of something fairly traumatic, but I just don't cry.
Well, there's no shame in crying. Like there's absolutely, and that's the thing. I think a lot of men, And what you guys were going with that, oh, well, women can cry. It's more acceptable for women to cry. But when men cry, it's not as acceptable.
Well, not too often now. You can cry. You get a couple.
Yeah.
Women will work with you a little bit, but not a lot.
Tell us what women are going to do.
It's because Neek, I'm telling you, like,
it's the media, Neek. Like, that's how
if this dude come home Monday and he crying.
Yes.
All right. Something happened. Something traumatic happened.
Okay.
You give him a mulligan on that.
Okay.
Because something traumatic. You're going to be there for him.
Yeah.
You're going to hug him.
Yeah.
The next day he come home, he crying.
He's still dealing with that.
He's still dealing with it. Okay. 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
He come home and he crying because somebody at work was messing with him.
He's still dealing with what happened 2 weeks ago still.
Okay. All right.
Like,
and then the next day.
You can't tell somebody how to grieve.
And then the next day.
Or how to handle something.
Next day he burnt the rice. So he started crying.
It may just be those built up emotions from that thing from 2 weeks ago that bothered him.
I feel what you're saying.
And it's just like
after a while
he needs to get help.
This behavior. Yeah.
But I would tell a woman that too. If you're crying every day and it just feels like you can't just get past that, then you need to see somebody and talk about it.
Sometimes there's some guys that just want to cry.
No, there's something deeper. There's always something deeper. There's always something that has not been addressed. If there's
So what you're saying is not necessarily the moment they cry. This is something that's been stored up, built up, and now it's coming out now.
Every day.
Okay. I'm trying to work with it.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't. To me, I can't. I guess I can't.
You can't relate.
I can't relate. Good word. I can't relate with what's happening here because I don't cry often. So,
but why don't you cry often?
But we're saying,
what's the use in it?
But we're saying cry.
Ooh, that's deep right there. He just said that. Okay, so he said, "What's the use in it?" So, is there some time that you've experienced that you've cried that it did no good?
Well, first off,
I just don't think it does any good. If I can go fix something,
well, first
I'd rather
off,
go fix it.
What I must say is there's not a couch in here, so I will not lay down on one. But I was taught a long time ago, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. No matter what happens, everything's going to move on. Life isn't about what happens. It's about what you do about what happens. So you can sit there and wallow in it and cry about it, or you can figure out a way to get through it. This is excluding traumatic events. If something traumatic happens, death in the family, somebody you're close to dies, something like that, okay. Child's real sick and you can't really figure it out. Emotions overcome you. But just the daily grind of life and things that just come across and like that you have to just fight through. Crying is not an option because you don't have the time to do it.
Yes, you can cry. You can feel. You have to feel your emotions.
You just don't have the time to.
And
you have to feel my emotion without crying.
Well,
but but crying isn't always an option. The thing about that phrase and that statement is that what we're teaching and what we've been taught as a generation is that that there is no time for our emotions. There's no time for us to sit with feeling like shit or sit with feeling icky and not good. It's we always have to, grass is greener on the other side. The day's gonna be better tomorrow. The lights are always brighter, next year. I don't know, but it's how do you acknowledge yourself in that moment? Because yes, that it's gonna get better tomorrow. We all know that things happen and it may not, but I may feel like crap right now, and I want somebody to acknowledge that I feel like crap right now. So if anybody's going to acknowledge it should be me. Shiloh, you don't feel great right now. Okay, girl, what do you need? What can we do to make you feel better? You need to go lay down. You need to go, go cry it out. You need to go and punch something. You need to go do a boxing class. You need to go do, what do you need right now if you don't feel good? And that's that self-empathy and compassion that we were not taught. And our generation nowadays is not taught that compassion and self-empathy. There are so many people here, and I used to be one of them, recovering, go, do. But I'd be so hard on myself. I achieved a lot in high school and I did it, but I just remember how much I grinded, how hard I worked. And I didn't give myself any compassion to be like there was just no excuses. Like it was going to get done, and it got done in the most toughest way possible. All-nighters, little sleep. And yes, there's time for that, but there's also time to say, hey, you are tired, go and sleep. You need more rest.
Yeah, you got to think about yourself, healing yourself. You got to put yourself first.
I'm putting myself first.
Okay.
We're going to move on.
Well,
we're going to move.
I think we kind of overemphasize crying because
I think, and what you're saying, because let me say this, and I think I might be, so am I being a toxic dad? Because like if my kids start crying, what you crying for?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. Okay. So I would just like, because you experienced that as a child, or you experienced growing up where that you're crying when you cry, that's your belief. What does crying doesn't do anything good for anybody. So why are you crying? That's what you were taught, right? Yeah. But you don't have to continue to teach that. That's your choice to continue to teach that. If your child is crying, more so, acknowledge the fact that they're crying and ask them, what's wrong? What happened? Tell me, share with me what your experience was. That's empowering them to say that their experience is important. What they're experiencing within their bodies is important. And what you're doing is reinforcing their ability and their trust within themselves to trust how they feel and communicate how they feel from a very young age.
Okay. I think I'm going to try that tomorrow when they come back.
Yeah. You don't want them to suppress their feelings.
Well, I mean, I never witnessed mom, dad, grandma, never witnessed them literally shed a tear. Never saw it. Not one day. And I just think that, I guess it was, because that was the question, what you crying for?
Well,
like, and like we said, it's not, we kind of overemphasized the
emphasizing crying, but I think a lot of people are crying, they just do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Because I don't see you cry, but I could say there's some things I think you do that's like crying, even if it's just lashing out.
Making complaints and lashing out.
Not complaining, but just like this thing you might do sometime when you get upset. And it's almost like a cry, right? Does that replace a cry? Because I have a friend who we won't mention. He has a show on the same network as us. Sometimes he has road rage. And he just like,
who's that? Oh,
our friend.
Oh, yeah, our friend. Yeah.
Our friend. Let's call him Brandon.
Wow.
Wow. He just scream out, like get out the way or something like that. That's almost like a form of crying. Is that?
Mm-hmm. So what it is all you're doing is like you're unpacking the superficial way that it's showing up.
Okay.
Crying, road rage, remember, anger, frustration, avoidance, isolation. All of those things are just the surface of what's happening underneath. And so when we see those things, that's when it's time to start sitting with ourselves and being intimate and say, okay, I'm now in my safe space. Let's dive into this behavior that I just exhibited and figure out why I'm acting like this. Where is this coming from?
Oh, so I can let him do the butterfly.
Yeah, you could do the butterfly, or you could just
tell him to do the butterfly hug. And
you ain't gonna lead him in the butterfly hug?
I'm not gonna lead him, but I will send him the video.
He may not need it. What he may need is a good boxing class to get out some of that anger, or he needs to go work out to the gym. And when he releases that and feels better and is a more centered place with himself because he's not bubbling up, overflowing with all those emotions, he may then have the ability and the capacity to start unpacking why he was angry. But if he's overwhelmed with all that anger and all that emotion, and it's so intense, what you need to do is properly resource yourself first so that you can bring that intensity down to a level where you can now start unpacking what was happening in that moment for you.
Okay. He's a good guy all the way around outside.
Oh yeah.
The other 96% of him is pretty good.
Great dude.
Yeah.
So that's going back a few steps. So let's say you have everything else in the relationship is immaculate. If there's no intimacy, can it succeed?
If there's no intimacy,
there's a lack of intimacy. Can it succeed? Can the relationship succeed? Everything else is in order.
It's two people dating you're talking about, right?
Yes, two people dating. Or let's say
it depends on the comfortability of each. You can find someone who is comfortable with the level of intimacy that the other person is giving them, and that, yeah, sure, it works. So long as there's equal, as you're going deeper with that person, you're like, okay, well, I am enjoying this. This works for me. This level of intimacy works for me. I just can accept the fact that he don't like to do the dishes, or I could accept the fact that he don't got a great relationship with his mama, and that's not on me. Like, as long as it works for the relationship, then sure, you know, it's dependent. There's some level of intimacy because you guys have a relationship, and you know, but the level it varies by the person. However deep, you know, if you guys feel like connected and I understand him and I can be supportive of him, as long as that works within the relationship, then that's great. But it's when it's not working, then there's something that's, you know, to be explored.
Okay.
All right. So on your page at the Sensuality Guru on IG, you said you talked about boundaries a little bit. So what type of boundaries do you think should be established when it comes to healthy intimacy?
I think that so a boundary is something that you set for yourself. And so I think that number one, a boundary would be to find a consistent schedule to practice intimacy with yourself. So I will practice being intimate with myself on a weekly, daily basis. So on a daily basis, I will tune in. I do daily. So on a daily basis, I will tune into my body. I will understand what I'm feeling at the start of the day. And then I will resource myself effectively throughout the day so that I can maintain a frequency of energy that I enjoy. Right. So that would be a boundary that I set for myself. Another one would be I will communicate my thoughts and feelings to the best of my ability to maintain my happiness or to maintain my peace. So the really is the consistency for the intimate connection with myself, the communication and the honesty that I will have with myself about being mindful about how I'm feeling within and communicating that to others. And I will properly resource myself. And I will explore other opportunities that will help resource myself more effectively so that I can maintain my peace, my love, and my support for myself.
Could you give me an example of what that looks like? Is that like
resourcing?
Yeah, I don't want to say the gym, but
that's a resource. Absolutely.
Okay, a resource. Absolutely. I'm going to the gym every afternoon or every other day. Your partner should respect that.
That's your
aspect of it. Okay. And you can say this is my healing or recharging time or
Yep. Every Sunday I take a spiritual bath. Every Sunday.
What do you take a spiritual bath in?
Yeah, I have a spiritual bath. I have I put a little mood lights. I have like little blue lights.
Oh, okay.
And then I have like the pink Himalayan salt, which is very good for basically removing all the toxins. And then I usually will listen to a podcast to some kind of basically maybe like an educational podcast because I like to do my thinking or listening, or it depends on what mood I'm in, or maybe just mood music that makes me feel good. And I will just spend that time alone in the bath. It resources me because anything that's warm helps me feel safe and comforted. Like I'm giving myself a literal hug. And then I'm cleansing. I know I'm mindfully thinking about, I've planned this activity. I'm doing this activity to feel good. And it's being effective in this moment because I'm feeling like I'm cleansing myself once I release and get out of the bathtub.
Okay.
So I get recharged.
The Relationship Status Podcast is a great podcast to listen to.
Awesome.
Yes.
Why you have pink Himalayan.
There we go.
on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yes, on Mondays and Wednesdays.
So those 2 days,
yes,
with Himalayan salts. Yes.
And on Wednesdays we review a show that you might know.
Yeah.
Because you look directly at me.
No, I thought you was about to say something.
Oh no, I was gonna ask a question about my healing process.
Yeah.
So when you was talking about how when we experience trauma, we remember the smell, the hearing, what was around, that kind of affects us and we keep it in. So about a few years ago, I was supposed to go to the movies with my ex. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time. I asked him to take me. Instead, he ended up taking his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We've taken a left turn here.
Yeah, that went hard left.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, hush. And it took me up until the beginning of this month to watch that movie. And it's like, it's already out. It's out. The part 2 has already came out. So I went to go see part 2 first. And that kind of helped me to watch part 1. And I just felt so energized. I'm like, I can do this. That was a part of me, I want to say, healing. With that, would you say that would be good? Because I was not that I was scared to go and see it, but it just kind of reminded me of him being with her.
Absolutely. How did you watch, if you mind me, what else, how did you watch that second movie? What was around you? Who did you watch it with?
Another guy.
Okay. That you felt safe with?
Yeah.
That sounds a little toxic.
No, I was like, but you felt safe enough with him in that moment and in a good enough and energetic space that you could then deal with that trauma of that experience of being, left for that previous, for the ex or whatever. So, but you had to feel resourced enough for you to engage. And once you watch that second movie, you were like, okay, this wasn't that bad. Now let me go. And I still feel safe. I still feel safe enough to do that. Let me go and watch that first movie now.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
And the gentleman that you went along with or accompanied you, what about you being present for him? You're thinking about something else and someone else, and you're there with said person. What about him? Shiloh.
Okay. So was he feeling like you weren't being present?
She wasn't present. She's admitting to it. You admitting that you was thinking about the other guy a little bit in the movie that he went and saw the other girl.
It was hard for me to watch the movie. It took me up until the beginning of this month to watch.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about once you're there, you're with another gentleman.
Yes.
You went with another gentleman because the person you wanted to go with chose to do something different.
Yeah, but
so you had a new guy, and he's thinking you're there with him to watch that movie, but yet in the corner of your mind, you're thinking about the other guy and his experience at the movies. That's not fair. I'm the man advocate.
I will say that what your body is experiencing from what your mind remembers are two different things. So you can have trauma, and remember I said it's stored in the body, right? You can have a whole nother separate engagement and something come into your experience that triggers, which is why we call it triggers, that triggers your body first, because your body saw it, smelled it, heard it, whatever first. That sends your body into a physical response to that memory. So you are now, your heart may be racing. You may be, you start to get a little bit anxious. If you tune into your body, you can start feeling, maybe you have a gut wrenching feeling in your stomach. There's a knot in your throat. Something's happening in that moment that when you see, you might be going to watch that movie. And it automatically, you already know in the back of your head, hey, that happened because of that experience that I had, right? So it's not that you're not being present with that person, the new person in the moment. Your body, you have no control of that. That it's now come into your experience. Your body energetically is doing what it's doing. All you can do with that person there is communicate that with him. If he feels that energy shift because you're now in a more anxious in energy because of what happened in that traumatic experience, all you can do is explain to him what's going on. Hey, I had a really shitty experience that one time. I was supposed to watch this movie or whatever. That's just you being really vulnerable and authentic. If you feel that safe.
Yeah. I did tell him about it though. Right. He was like, oh, we're going to watch this.
Now she told him. Okay. Okay.
He's who I date now.
Thank you for giving Nika out, but okay.
Thank you.
You can feel and we're always exchanging energy with one another. So I think what you were saying is true. You were like, well, what about him in that moment? And if her shift in energy was so drastic that it did not allow her to show him any attention, like maybe she would dissociate and she would get really isolated, and he's over here like, baby, come here, come watch it with me, and he's trying to pull her near, and she's like, no, I'm good. Kind of like sitting here. Then he's gonna be like, well, what's wrong? You don't want to hug me? You don't want me to be on you? And she's like, I'm good. And she's not able to communicate what the trauma was, and not working through that trauma, and she's not feeling safe enough to work through that trauma with him. And that's her, he needs to be able to see that. And now it's affecting his experience with her watching the movie.
Yeah. Well, I will say he did create a safe space, because when we went to go see the second movie, he was like, why you didn't see the first? And so I explained to him what happened. He was like, what? It's on Amazon. We're gonna go and watch it. So we got some snacks. He made it fun. We watched it in, the comfort of my home, and we made it fun and we had a good time and we liked the movie. So it wasn't even me thinking about the other individual. It was just the whole point of I didn't want that feeling anymore of how that made me feel at that time.
Right. And that was great that, you got to be in the comfort of your own home. You felt safe and secure in that. His response to you being vulnerable and sharing that information was very positive. He wasn't like, damn, you still thinking about him? Blah, 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 blah. He was like, come on, we about to watch this movie. I got you. We're going to get some snacks and do it. It was very supportive, right? So his response to you was supportive, which allowed you to then work through that experience and kind of process that whole experience through your body and the emotions that were there through your body.
Yeah. If that's how the story went, but okay. I wasn't there, so I can't confirm or deny.
What? So you're calling me a liar?
Hey, don't throw
Shiloh,
out such slanderous words.
At any point, did you ever hear me call anyone a liar? I did not. You need a butterfly hug.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Neek.
Yeah, if I throw something.
Yeah.
Or a deep breath or a mindful pause.
A mindful pause.
A mindful pause.
All right, so Miss Shiloh, you have an event coming up soon?
Yes, we're working on a workshop that will be coming up in December. We're still tying down the dates. But basically it will be one of the Sensual Soul series workshops, and where we're going to get women together and we'll start these conversations and we'll have a little bit of fun. We'll be hosting a brunch and we'll just get some time to get to know each other, get to know ourselves on a deeper level, and in that community and that safe space with women.
Now, is this for women only?
It is. At the moment, it is for women only.
Good.
I think that women, we have a different aspect, a different perspective of the things that we dealt with. And I think for me, I have never had enough women around to just create this space together. And a lot of the things that you see nowadays with dating and how it's a lot of cattiness and it's a lot of back and forth and women are not supporting women enough. I really want to change that narrative. I really want to have this safe space where we are talking about the things that we deal with in relationship. That way we can have more empathy and compassion for one another. And we build.
Yeah, because we don't have any right now.
No, girl, it's a catty women community, and I don't like it. It is not. I don't like it. I really don't. And it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. If we can help women learn how to honor what they need more. And not be worried about, who can I please and I need to be this to please this, and I need to be this to attract this man, and I need to be let's learn how to accept and love all of you first.
Okay, and that starts with them having some intimacy with themselves, right?
Absolutely, that's the pathway.
It does. Now, are there? Do you have maybe 3 tips for us to create intimacy in any environment or the right environment?
Absolutely. So I would do my 3-step process is honestly just to tune into your body.
Okay. Got that.
Hear what it's saying. Turn up your compassion, turn up your self-compassion and self-empathy for yourself to actually go and do something that resources you, and then get out there and go and experience more pleasure. Go and have more experiences that feel good. Go and do more things and explore and date yourself and go and try new activities. Go and paint a wall, do something so that you can understand yourself at a deeper level with these new experiences and now put them in your toolbox. Like, how I do that.
You hear this? It's good stuff.
Oh, I know.
It's good stuff.
Hey, listen, my brother.
She might be on to something.
Yes, I think
she's definitely on to something.
You might could be a coach.
You might could be a coach.
You get
I'm already a whole ass coach.
Okay. Speaking of painting walls, have some questions. Is that a silhouette of yourself in the back, or is that Janet Jackson? Who is that in the background?
No, these are all pieces of art that I curated or collected over the years that embody expressions or things that I felt, and so I have one. I'll show you guys really quickly. This beautiful.
Show us. Who is that?
beautiful.
Angela Davis?
That looks like
Yeah.
a Diana Ross.
Diana Ross? Could be Diana Ross. Who is it? Who's the inspiration behind this one?
All of them I feel like are parts of myself. I think they're all expressions of moments that I felt the way that these women are captured in, you know, these pictures or these pieces of art. And so I find things that remind me of me, honestly, so I can feel like I'm embodying my own energy, and I feel like I'm embodying and surrounding myself with aspects of and qualities of myself that I enjoy. You know, I remind, oh yeah, that was sorry.
What was that painting saying to you? What did you see about yourself in that painting you just showed?
It's the butterfly hug. Did you guys see it?
Mhm.
Is that what she's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the butterfly.
I thought that was a man.
No,
Oh
sir.
my goodness.
That's Summer?
No, that's
Oh.
just a woman.
It is just a woman.
So
It's
this
just
is
a
the
woman.
butterfly
The butterfly
hug picture.
hug. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's just being very sensual with herself. You know, I you know, it's just a holding and embracing of yourself, and just kind of like a release of you just worrying about anything. So she's really embodying the moment of an aura, of an essence of just being with herself. I use this one over here, the woman over here. She's deep in thought. I'm very, very often deep in thought.
Okay.
And thinking about, like, you know, how can I best help? How can I best be supportive and how can I get the knowledge that I have out of here into some content that's helpful? You know, and then this was a nice find. I love abstract art. It's like one of my favorite because it's feeling like you can see a picture even though it's not as complete, you know?
Okay.
It's and minimal. And then I have this woman, she's smoking a cigarette, but I love my hookah. It's actually
I do too.
girl.
You like hookah?
I understand the health and all their ramifications. Trust me, I'm a whole health freak and health conscious person about what that is too. But for whatever reason, the deep inhaling and exhaling of the hookah is actual ritualistic for me to kind of wind down. So if I'm like, you know, either wanting to just be in a space of just kind of just relax, I'll smoke my hookah and, you know, and it'll be a thing. So that's kind of, she always reminds me of that kind of embodied, like, it's just a breath of fresh air, just like a release.
Okay, we're gonna let the cat get on, or what? He got something to say?
Oh, he's always got something to say. This is Taz.
What's the cat's name?
It's Taz.
Taz.
Like Tasmanian.
He's a Savannah cat.
Oh,
A Savannah cat?
Yeah.
Is that the mutt of cats, or what is it?
Oh.
He's mixed with an African serval and a domestic cat.
Oh, and that's why it's a Savannah cat. Them African servals or something else.
Either they're both him and Z got a Bengal and a Savannah. They're both very, very large cats. But
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I've
wow.
seen a few. That's pretty cool. I'm not a cat guy myself, more of a dog, but hey.
I'm more
So-
of a non-animal.
So your theme in your room is I am every woman.
there you go.
Okay.
You're just agreeing. You're just being nice.
I actually call it the shades of shy.
The shades of
So
shy.
Okay. All right now.
Okay. Well,
Personalizing it. Okay.
Because, yeah, you can't. You never want to box yourself in to be this one thing because it's almost like, how do I show up as who I want to show up as in this moment, and how do I create compassion for myself when I show up as somebody else in that moment? Like, let's say if I wanted to show up, you know, with a whole bunch of, if I wanted to show up at a presentation where I'm giving that, and I wanted to be courageous and I wanted to, you know, be embodying and sit in my feminine power. But let's say I got really scared, or there was a lot of things happening and I was more nervous and I was fumbling with my words and I didn't show up as who I wanted to show up. How can I create the self-empathy and the compassion so that I can get back to feeling like myself? But you always want to have this kind of ability to say, I can be whoever I want to be. There's no limit.
wow, that is often creating a lovely space like that. Wow.
Well, man, it's been amazing to have you on.
Very interesting.
The Shiloh, the sensuality guru.
Yes.
She knows a lot
She,
about
Guru
sensuality.
does insinuate some things.
So tell the people where they can find you, where they
Social
can book
media.
you,
Yeah.
social media, all that stuff.
Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram as Shiloh _Trianna. and or you guys can come up to the Sensuality Guru page. So at the Sensuality Guru, and so Instagram is my favorite mode of communication. So find me on there. I will have the links that are coming up for the workshop in December will be on the Sensuality Guru. So, follow me on there for more information. And thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And being so open. I appreciate. I always do a gratitude for your shares, your information and your experiences are very I take that. I don't take that lightly for the things that you share in your personal lives. So I appreciate your openness and your vulnerability with me. And I just want to give you a moment of gratitude for that.
Thank you.
Well, I want to give you a moment of gratitude for the butterfly hug.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, I will try that at least for a week.
At least for a week?
At least for 1 week.
And I'm going to stay on them.
I give it a week.
You have to come back and see how and get an update.
Yes.
Right. The breathing we got to start the episodes with the breathing, take a few breaths.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we get started.
Yes. And then you get started.
So y'all see how I got her to say she's going to come back on, right?
Yeah.
It's on there. It's recorded.
Okay. It's recorded. So she can't back out now. She can't back out now.
She drew you in and turned it against you. See that?
All right, Miss Shiloh, if you can hang on for 1 minute.
Sure.
Neek, go ahead and take us out.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to the show. It's your girl, Neek.
CL Butler.
And your boy, Yusuf in the building. And we are out.